The party games for me is one of the more interesting sets of Hypixel arcade games. I've played a lot of it myself and with friends, and considering the experience I've had with it, I thought I'd go through every single current party game set and give them all a rating out of 5 based on difficulty, fairness, and enjoyment levels. But a quick reminder to all, this is also based on my experiences on playing the minigames. People all have different opinions with every party game, and this is just the final outcome from my point of view. So without further ado, let's play some party games. First off, we have Animal Slaughter. You're in an open grass field with a bunch of animals that all spawn randomly that you gotta kill, including chickens, pigs, and cows. Some give you points based on their thickness levels, and some half your score, no matter their thickness levels. The wrong animals that half your score are also one-hit mobs as well, so it is definitely something you need to watch out for. This is, however, one of the more fun ones. It does involve a bit of concentration for which ones you gotta kill, considering that if you kill the one that halves your score, you're basically done, but most of the animals are safe, and it makes for a well-timed, fun, intense battle towards the finish. It can bring up hype levels as well as the game goes on, and needing to be careful by avoiding the animals that half your score, but at the same time, it doesn't seem that difficult. I give Animal Slaughter a 4 out of 5. Anvil Spleef. There's a massive square platform along with an anvil rainfall that you have to avoid by staying alive on top of the square platform. You can die either by falling into the void or being crushed by the anvil. At most times the first few seconds of the game is easy and straightforward, but until then the platform starts to lose their blocks and becomes more difficult for the player. So basically, the longer the game lasts, the more danger you're in unless you're some pro player like these people. Even with the simple strategy of sitting on top of a block waiting for that block's anvil to come down and move yourself somewhere else, it still then becomes a lot harder to stay alive considering the platform starts to fall apart then. I give Anvil Spleef a 3.5 out of 5. Frozen Floor. It's a snowball fight on a circle-shaped icy platform. This is one where I can't really tell if it's fully RNG based or fully skill based, even with my experiences on this minigame. It can be more difficult than some of the other games, as you have to focus on staying alive on the circle-shaped platform and trying to fight your enemies off with the snowballs, which isn't very straightforward for a couple of reasons. The icy platform can screw you over if you're being hit around the edge of the platform, and when it seems like you're about to get someone, they can still easily fight back and stop your momentum on trying to edge someone off the map. So basically running is almost the only thing that can save you potentially trying to win a single round of this minigame, unless the strategies pro players use that I don't know about, but either way it still goes down as a difficult and slightly unfair minigame. I give Frozen Floor a 2.5 out of 5. Fire Leapers. It's very simple, jump over the particles. See, as easy as it sounds, the outcomes you get tells you it's not that easy. Even though starting off it looks slow and simple, it gets faster over time, and not only that, the cheating particles start to come in. Now what do I mean by that? Well, I'll tell you. Sometimes I don't even touch the particles and they still kill me. And you think it was probably just a near miss. No, look, I'm jumping over them fine, and I continue doing so until then, yeah. You replay that just once, and you can clearly see it doesn't even touch me. And there's really nothing much else to say about this minigame other than those particles are just big cheaters. I give Fire Leapers a 1 out of 5. Spider Maze. You have to make your way through a maze towards the middle tower while avoiding a spider who will always be following you behind you as you move. Now this is not that difficult unless you're in first person for trying to find your way through the tower, but even with a planned path you're taking by using third person, you may still accidentally migrate to someone else's path, which could mess you up. I really feel like there are half good and half bad spawns / paths towards the tower, and if you're not doing well by choosing the right paths, you may also end up in a dead end, which is very bad, knowing that the spider is still following you from behind. This can also be too quick of a minigame, because the top 3 finishers who can easily find the path to the tower, they can end the game quickly while others still struggle on the other hand most of the time. Sometimes you could also cut the finishers very close to the others, meaning that even if you do a perfect run, you may still lose by a split second to someone else and you'd potentially be owing a star or two. Although it may seem fun every once in a while, this is definitely one of the more RNG based minigames, so I give Spider Maze a 1.5 out of 5. The Floor is Lava. It's a parkour speedrun through a lava castle. It has 2 sections towards the finish line, a section that has a few jumps that'll really get you moving, and a repeat jump section which just has you jumping straight on the platforms from left and right. And again, this map being a race speedrun sort of minigame, it can also have close finishes as well, because perfect runs don't always mean first place. I'll also just quickly move to Jungle Jump, as it's basically the same as the Floor is Lava, except in a different map. This one is slightly harder and involves a few tight jumps and more different sized platforms, but everything else is still the same as the Floor is Lava, including the close finish aspect. Not really much between the two, but I give both the Floor is Lava and Jungle Jump a 2 out of 5. Cannon Painting. You're standing in front of an insanely large canvas where you have to throw eggs and fill in the board with as much as you can in 30 seconds. While it first seems fun and easy, the fact that other players can color over yours is very annoying. When you're just trying to fill in as much as you can, you'll mostly stumble across people topping your work, and even when you don't bother recoloring the overtaken areas and continue painting elsewhere, it doesn't really change anything, as the players who are dominating the round can barely lose, which means you won't get a real chance of winning if you've stumbled across a few problems. It's very, very hard to keep up with coloring the board and focusing on keeping your opponents out of it. So I give cannon painting a 1 out of 5. Lab escape. You are very high, and the only way to get down is by quickly mining your way through dirt, stone, and wood planks using their specific tools to mine with. Even though I haven't had the best rounds with this minigame, it is actually quite fun and such a creative idea in my opinion. Of course, this is a race type game, but it actually brings a straightforward challenge and a fair enough timed game on mining your way through the bottom as quickly as you can. Now, with all the rare positives I've given, unfortunately you can't change where you can place your tools in the hotbar, so it may affect people with different controls like I do. So that is one negative. This would be near perfect, but I give Lab Escape a 4 out of 5. Workshop. Work hard, fellas, because this minigame is absolutely amazing by both its entertainment and creativity. A villager tasks you to craft a few items for him, and to do that you have to get materials that are from the shelves, which for some you have to use to craft or smelt to get the right crafting ingredients. And this makes it for one of the best party games because of the fun you can have while racing others to finish as quickly as you can by creative things like these. So obviously I have to give Workshop a 5 out of 5. Moving on to shooting range. You're standing in the trenches waiting to strike for them zombies and skeletons and gold skeletons and TNT zombie things. Unless you have terrible aim, this is another fun game as the mobs have a varied scoring system and the aspects that benefit the player. Like when you hit the TNT zombie and you get an explosive arrow, which works very, very well. The challenges for this minigame are mostly fun as well, as you build your way towards 50 points to win the game, or just simply get the most points in a fun little shootout game against others. So for shooting range, I'm gonna give another 5 out of 5. Lawn mower. Yes, I hate that pun too. Anyways, instead of killing the cows, we now ride them to try and get them to eat as much grass as possible. Even though it starts off easy with all the grass intact, as they get eaten over time, it starts to become more harder to eat the grass as the field slowly starts to lose its path of grass for the cow to eat, and when it's slightly hard to control your cow efficiently as well. As clever the idea for this minigame is, I wouldn't say it's one of the more enjoyable ones. So I give Lawnmower a 2.5 out of 5. RPG 16. I really don't have anything to say about this minigame other than absolute garbage. I generally do not think I've had any good experiences with this game for many reasons. First of all, the peaks that you launch are so weird because they don't seem like they do much damage no matter where you are. So the best hope you can get is by spamming it constantly at your targets. Secondly, the fast movements will mess up your visions and awareness of things around you, which is mostly deaths and explosions that appear out of nowhere. Also, the reload times seem a tad bit too long, which may give you a disadvantage if you somehow stumble on a good chance to kill someone. And instead of this being a last man standing game, it's actually based on the amount of kills the player has, which I don't think is a good idea considering how random every aspect in this minigame is. It's a very easy decision for this rating for RPG 16 because it is an easy 0 out of 5. Pig jousting. You're riding a pig and you fight people with an iron sword. I would say being good at PvP works well for this minigame, but considering I'm not on that level, it's probably why I'm giving these negatives. Firstly, riding the pig around the map is a bit clunky. The movement is automatic, meaning that if you want to combo hit someone, you have to keep on track with him as you move forward, which is extremely hard to do. And if you're very low on health, running away also doesn't really help as the person who's going for you can still easily catch up to you. And unfortunately, you don't regain health, so taking damage is crucial at all times. I'm gonna give pig jousting a 2.5 out of 5. High ground. The goal is to stay on the red platform for the most time while fighting and knocking off others. This one is actually an enjoyable battle royale game as reaching the platform is easy enough and you can effortlessly and almost instantly get back in the fight with others. Of course you can be knocked back at multiple times and can take a while before getting back to the platform, but remember that fights involving everyone go on throughout the whole round. There is also a knockback fish that I didn't see or use, but it's nice that it's there regardless. This minigame sets the tone well for intense battle royale rounds, so I give high ground a 5 out of 5. Bombardment. You're standing on a pier with a giant ship in the foreground that shoots bombs that you have to dodge. The dodging is fairly simple and doesn't involve any fighting or knockbacks to others, so it's mainly up to you to stay alive. Of course, it is hard to see the bombs because of them blending in with the cannons on the ship, and it does get faster after a while, but after a few rounds, you would probably get the hang of it and does seem fun after a while. I give Bombardment a 4.5 out of 5. Chicken rings. This is one I can tell people have different opinions on. I remember not enjoying it as much as I did during the first times I played it, but like the practice makes progress thing, it works well with this minigame. The only goal was to fly through the rings, which makes you go faster in the race, which after a while does become a lot harder to control and react. Hitting the rings may cause lag, and missing the rings sets you back to normal speed, which you don't want happening, otherwise you might be done. I can say this is a mostly enjoyable and intense minigame, which involves a lot of lag, but for me, I give chicken rings a 4.5 out of 5. Ho ho ho. Yes, I know it's Christmas time, but you know what I mean. Now this minigame will basically force you to get to work quickly, otherwise afterwards, the game is basically set for the winner. Basically what you have to do is cover the ground as much as you can with your colour, which seems easy to do. The trap is that you can only place them next to your colour, which means if you're not quick enough, people could circle/trap your area and you couldn't do anymore, which brings the fact that someone could cover like half the map without people realising, and until then, it makes it too easy for that particular player. I learned that the hard way. Every single round, someone's going to get the big area and everyone else has no chance. And it's most obviously not entertaining or fair in all cases after the first 5 seconds of the round. So I give Ho 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 minigame a 0.5 out of 5. Minecart racing. You're sitting in a minecart and you have to shoot your coloured wool to make you go faster and get to the finish line. Now obviously I am a terrible bow as you can see, but it's actually an enjoyable minigame as it's simply a fun battle towards the finish, as you just have to try and bow the blocks that you have to get. It also doesn't matter who shoots the block, the colour that is shot will work with whoever's colour it is and they go faster. Also meaning that you could shoot the wrong colour and they also go faster. So that is something you have to watch out for and is likely to happen, especially when you're fast. Either way, it's a fun experience and a very creative minigame if I do say so myself. I give minecart racing a 4.5 out of 5. Pig fishing. Another pig game, except this time you fish for them. Now I'll start by saying it's a very hard minigame. Now picking the pigs is not necessarily the hardest bit, it's flinging them to your pot that is majorly difficult, and when they sometimes stand on the edge of your pot but don't go in, which is also very frustrating. Obviously there are a lot of pigs in play, so a lot of opportunities in place to get them and get your score up, but again, at least getting them over to your side is still very hard. It is possible and may be easy or luck at times, but still on the difficult side. I give pig fishing a 3 out of 5. Avalanche. You're in a square icy place and you have to take cover under the slabs from multiple avalanches to stay alive. There is a short amount of time to get to safety under cover, and you have to do this for up to 12 or more waves, which is mostly fun and easy. After wave 10, players will also then be allowed to hit each other, which I don't think is smart either, considering that you can hit people at any time when you're under cover, or trying to get to the cover, which means there's a massive guarantee you'll be hit by the avalanche, and stupidly brings the RNG based aspects to this minigame, which would have been perfect without it, but with that I give Avalanche a 4 out of 5. Trampolino. The goal is to fly into the floating box with the varied score system, which seems like it makes for a fun battle royale game, but there's a few things that don't make it that. Firstly, people can fly across your screen and potentially steal your A blocks to get points. Secondly, the boosters are extremely hard to get as well if you want to get the plus 10 red block that is way up there and when you can't use your regular bounces to get it. The blocks may also not register immediately, which not only causes lag, but it might not even register the score. So I give Trampolino a 2.5 out of 5. Volcano. It's basically a TNT run, but the blocks slowly fade to red, which then disappears after. The goal is to survive, and be the last man standing. That's literally it. I give Volcano a 5 out of 5, because it's only right to do so. Anyways, moving on to Super Sheep, it's a Slither.io ripoff. You know how much I like those. I'm obviously kidding people, it's in Minecraft. Anyways, you're riding around on a sheep around a circular map trying to avoid hitting other people's tails and be the last man standing, but this for me is one of the most enjoyable mini-games, as it can result in fun and intense games as the round goes on. The sprinting works well as well, and is a very key part to save yourself in situations where you could be trapped which is not under your control. Everything is very well this minigame, so I give Super Sheep a 5 out of 5. Dive. You're high up again and you have to land in a massive water pool. Blocks of your colour will appear there based on wherever you've landed in the water, and every time you successfully land you get a point. A single round of the minigame is 60 seconds total, which I do think is too long considering that as the game goes on, the pool is getting more full from everyone's landings, which there is like 8 people and landing about 12 times around that time, meaning there's almost 100 blocks after that. And it gets harder, and when you know you have to only rely on yourself for landing in the tight gaps, which is not that easy. I would make the time 30 or 45 seconds for every round if I was Hypixel, but I give Dive a 4 out of 5. And lastly and finally, Jigsaw Rush. You basically have to look at the full border blocks and make an exact replica of so. Pretty simple as that. You basically got to be fast as you can to finish, which is hard to keep up on one hand, but on the other hand, it is easy to finish. That's all I'm going to say about that one, and I give Jigsaw Rush a 4.5 out of 5. Far out, we're finally done. So that's all the mini games of party games, of arcade games, of Hypixel games. yeah, I've given all the positives, the negatives, all the experiences I've had, and I can officially say Hypixel Party Games is very notorious for Minecraft multiplayer. Within all the ratings I've given, it gives a total rating of 81.5 out of 130, which is actually not half bad considering most minigames I take is mostly bad. But because of the good ratings I've given, it is definitely the reason the total rating is up there. But just remember everyone that this is all based on my experiences and it is different to others. I would also like to give a quick shout to Alex Hayoto, who also did a similar video to this, but used rankings on a tier list for every party game. I didn't know about this video during the pre-production, but now that I've seen it, I'd appreciate if you go and check out his video, which will be in the description. So thank you dear lads for watching. I sincerely hope you enjoyed this video after I've gone through over 25 party games for this video. It was fun, but hell man, it's tiring. Whatever. Like, subscribe, comment, etc. And I will see you one last time this year for the year review. And next year. Hopefully. Bye.